This may be the most important video I have ever posted. Have you ever known someone who is drinking, cannot quit? Maybe you love them, maybe it's you, maybe it's a relative. And as soon as they quit drinking, you are so happy, right? And they quit, and it's been a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months or years. And then one day you see them and they're drinking again. It's like heartbreaking. And you think, God, why would they do that once they quit? That's scenario one. Scenario two is, have you ever known anybody with a mental health issue? What happens when mental illness goes untreated? What happens to that person? Usually we find they get worse and worse and worse. And eventually they're on the street, they're homeless, they're yelling and talking to the trees. It's very sad. Some people are lucky enough to get help, and maybe a family member intervenes or the courts intervene and they get them into a center and they help them and they get them on the right meds, which is key. They get them on these meds and then everything looks great and they leave and they go home and things are going so well, they decide to go off their meds. And what happens? That is exactly the same. Alcoholism centers in your mind. It is a mental illness. How they treat it is with drugs and alcohol. They can't get the right meds, so they're on the street and they're drinking and using to try to treat their mental health, their mental illness. If you are suffering from alcoholism, regardless how you treat it, treating your alcoholism, your thinking, you might treat it with alcohol, helps calm it down, shut it up. You might treat it with drugs, prescription drugs, ketamine, marijuana, gambling, sex, porn, gaming, shopping, eating. There are a lot of ways to treat this thing. Unfortunately, most of them have terrible side effects. So the reason that people quit drinking and start again is the same reason that people with mental health issues do. They either never started treating this, they just quit drinking and using, switched some addictions trying to get this thing to shut up, or it wins out and you start drinking and using again. So simple once you understand it. And once you understand it, you can quit because you got to find a way to treat this. And there's a lot of ways. If you've stopped drinking and using and you're not treating this and you're going out of your mind, you're uncomfortable, you're irritable, you're restless, you're discontent, you need to treat your thinking. DM me. I'll tell you how. There's a bunch of ways. That is why people chronically relapse. That is why people can't stay sober. That's why people drink on the way home from treatment centers. Okay? So now we know. Tell your friends.